Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. From DC Comics under their black label, we're going to be talking about Danger Street, issue number 6. It is written by Tom King, art by Jorge Fornès, colors by Dave Stewart, and letters by Clayton Cowles. And this fantastic cover is also done by Jorge Fornès. Before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe on this guy's channel. It does help. It's the reason I'm on YouTube. You know, the interaction. It's all free. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the bell. You never know when I'm going to be dropping reviews. But here we go. Danger Street issue number 6. We are at the halfway point. It is a 12-issue series, and it doesn't disappoint. Each issue just keeps getting better and better. The mystery keeps unfolding. With this issue, we start out, you know, with the end of the book 5, and you know, the whole car accident with Warlord was trying to get away with Dr. Fate's helmet. Of course, he smashed into Lady Cop, so now Lady Cop has him detained at the hospital. She's waiting for him to wake up so she can question him about Starman. It doesn't happen at the moment. The book jumps over to one of our last remaining Green Team members. This would be Abdul, and then we got the Commodore that's like the only two left. And just like all the other ones, the Manhunter shows up. He takes out the bodyguards and goes to claim his prize, but Abdul has a prize waiting for him in a different format. He shoots him in the chest with a shotgun as soon as he enters the door with a kapow. We get this little brief description of Abdul and why he's on the Green Team and how he got his money, and basically he says that he stole it, you know, that he watched other people make their money and then he just crept in and stole them, so he's not as soft as the other, you know, Green Team members seem to be. But during this whole, like, you know, supervillain speech, that's when Manhunter finds his moment, gets Abdul to hesitate, and gets the upper hand for the moment. But Abdul actually has plans of his own. He doesn't hesitate either. He takes this moment and runs out, smashes out the window, and jumps off of a very high rise all the way down to the pool, making it safely. And Manhunter basically has to, you know, like, hop all the way down and, you know, go downstairs and all kind of other stuff. We jump back over to Warlord and Lady Cop, and Warlord has finally woken up. He's in kind of a super state, you know, he's probably being drugged, you know, due to the healing process, you know. But he wakes up not knowing who he was. I don't know if this is part of his gimmick or whatever, now that he's in the hospital or whatever, but Lady Cop knows who he is. She's ran his prints, knows his full name and some of his bio and stuff like that. He does mention that, you know, this kind of, you know, call Superman, you know, and he'll kind of fill in the gaps. And there's this great panel right here with Lady Cop. Is like, man, we're in a regular ass hospital with a regular ass, you know, address that's online. You know, if Superman was going to help you or needed to be here, he'd be here, and there'd be nothing to stop him, kind of thing. So we can get past that. You know, basically she commences to asking about the Starman, or aka the Blue Starman. And he does what a good friend does. He's like, yeah, just go to hell, kind of thing. We jump over to Highfather and Darkseid, and Orion kind of shows up in a little hologram form to give his message, his report after failing on obtaining Atlas's body. Really, he was after his soul. But we kind of find out, even though he had failed and the sky is still falling, they might have, Darkseid and Highfather might have figured out some other way to not necessarily stop it from falling, but maybe, like, you know, make it slower at falling, I guess you could say. But they do mention that there is going to have to be some great sacrifice on Orion's part. Orion does agree. The book jumps back over to the Dingbats, and they have Starman in this house captive, and they're basically, you know, that it's non-fat, and he's trying to get him to wake up. Of course, he's still knocked out from the fight with Orion. Excuse me. And that's pretty much it to this conversation. There's this funny kind of moment with one of the boys, and he went out to grab food for everybody, and he brought back a whole bunch of grapes. Eventually, one of the other boys has to leave. They show him right here. But he's going to leave out and get because Chunk's got the grapes, so he's going to go, I don't know why it's not focusing, but he's going to go get the burgers, and basically it's just non-fat and Starman and Chunks that are left, during this house. Eventually, non-fat he gets tired of trying to wake up Starman, and he's just like, screw it, I'm gonna kill him. He knows what he did. But it doesn't go through. He kind of states over here that that Starman needs to be awake for his reckoning. He needs to know what he did, why the boys are doing this kind of thing, and that resonates with me. It'd be kind of weird if he went through all this whole like avenge thing just to kill somebody that's asleep kind of thing. I guess that is a villain way to do things, an easier way. We cut back over to Abdul, and we see some things in motion, and it's pretty much Abdul at a bank, and he's trying to withdraw some of his money from the Green Team, corporation, and we find out he has been cut off. His credit card has been declined. There is a phone call outside of the, and basically Abdul calling the Commodore, trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, we know the Commodore struck that deal with the assassin, and that's why he's being cut off. He doesn't care about the other members of the Green Team. But Abdul is having to find this out the hard way, because even during the conversation, his phone line gets cut off, and that's why he just smashes the phone down. But he's being cut off on all his resources kind of thing, is basically what they show him. We jump back over here, and now we have Highfather and Darkseid on their separate planets and what they're about to do. I was kind of unclear, but it's pretty plain and simple, and it's explained in the book. But long ago there was a pact between Darkseid's world and Highfather's world, because basically Darkseid's world is a big machine, and it does have some massive weapon. And they made some kind of deal long ago that the Darkseid would never use that weapon, at least on this, on this planet. But at this time, there is some kind of like way where when Darkseid uses the machine, and blasts the planet, with both of them in sync, it does make this massive tower, as you can see right here. And basically, this tower is kind of like halting the sky from falling. Is how the book, tells it. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. So they build, they using some kind of like high-powered beam to stop the universe sky from falling, right? I don't know. So we jump back over, and it's Lady Cop, and she is talking to this guy in the morgue, and she's basically like trying to figure out why. She's still trying to follow her leads, and she's trying to figure out why Warlord and Starman were even bothering with the body. The body had already gone through like the autopsy and all this other stuff, been cleared and everything, and they're like, did they come back to get the body to, like, if there's no body, there's no murder kind of thing, which, to both the cops are like, that's kind of dumb. Lady Cop does not think it is that. There is also this like brief mention of the other body that was at the original event. Of course, Atlas, they have Atlas's body, and he's kind of asking what to do with Atlas's body, and nothing at the moment is really said. We see Abdul trying to make it back to the Green Team's headquarters. Of course, not being allowed inside. Not only that, but being thrown out by somebody that he hired himself. At the same moment while this is going on, Jack Ryder kind of walks out and sees the whole situation, tries to help Abdul or find out what's going on, but before he can, Abdul kind of runs off, just screaming profanities at the Green Team, corporation type thing. The book cuts over back to Starman, and he is awakening. Kind of confused on where he is. None of this dialogue is him. It is all the kids, and they're playing a fighting game, trying to figure out different moves. It sounds like a Mortal Kombat game. But we have Starman, and as you can see, he just rips out of the bindings that they had him in, the ropes or whatever, and he just kind of like trying to figure out where he's at and just wandering around. We jump back to Lady Cop, and she's still trying to follow the clues, trying to figure out, she knows she has all the pieces, they're just not fitting together or making any sense. So she comes back to the other piece of evidence that she has, of course, is Dr. Fate's helmet that was in the car with Warlord during the accident. and she's basically asking Dr. Fate if he knows any, tips, which he probably does, but at this moment he's not telling her. But it is something is revealed, and she asks how all these things are connected, and she sees this piece right here saying the green team. So it looks like she does have another clue. We jump back to Abdul, and we hear this story about how Abdul is going back to a place that he really doesn't want to go back to, and he doesn't think they're going to take him back in. He does this whole knock and pleading thing, and we get this girl who answers the door, and basically we find out this is one of the people that he stole from to make his millions or billions or whatever it was, and that's why they're not so friendly on taking him back. But they do eventually take him back inside, because he explains that if they don't, it'll be the death of him. Manhunter is after him, and that's basically, he's not trying to really get money or anything at this point. He's trying to find a safe haven, to stay hidden away from Manhunter. As he enters inside, we see this like a weird ensemble of different cast, and it looks like a whole bunch of different mutated individuals. But we also have one of the biggest clues right here. We find out that this group is none other than the Outsiders, and this is the Outsiders that the Green Team has supposedly been against the whole book. I'm not familiar with this version of the Outsiders. My version of the Outsiders is Batman's Outsiders. Now, breaking off, if you know anything, if these characters existed before this book, please let me know, because everybody here were brand new. But supposedly Abdul had robbed these people before. That's why they weren't so keen on taking them back. We have one last page, and like all the other books, we get this ensemble of different panels. But basically it's kind of like Jack Ryder, and he's going to the Commodore, and he's explaining about how he saw the situation with Abdul, and he's kind of wondering about that. There is this high praise about how Jack Ryder is the most watched news kind of thing going around. We do see that the high priest is, there was a lot of pain that went through that whole process of him making the tower. We got Orion over here, and it looks like he's finally getting collected again from his battle. Of course, Starman's kind of doing the same thing. In my perspective, it looked like Starman's walked through the door where the kids are playing their game. We got Lady Cop over here, and it looks like she is researching the Green Team, which I imagine won't be too hard. And then it ends out with the Outsiders and Abdul, and what that whole what that means. It kind of does make sense now that we have the Outsiders and Abdul had robbed from them before. Kind of why the Green Team might have been after the Outsiders, trying to cover up some of their dirty tracks or something like that. But man, if this issue didn't disappoint, it was such a great read. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue in this book, and a book that has a lot of dialogue that is not interesting can be a drain. This is a fantastic journey, and I've loved every single issue. I find myself searching panels for like Easter eggs and stuff like that, because there's just so much that's going on, even though it's really just 4 parts of the story. But it is amazing. We had some missing members from this issue. We had, no sight of Assassin or real confirmation of the Commodore, what they're doing. The last we saw, they were ferrying on a boat, trying to get the hell away from America type of thing. But that is my review on Danger Street, issue number 6. It was fantastic. I love it. The art is stellar. The color, the lettering, everything. I love it. Let me know down below your thoughts. Are you still digging it? I know there's quite a bit of people that have jumped on ship, after hearing a lot of praise for this book, which should be, everybody should be on this book. I don't know. But that's what I got for you. That's my review. Let me know below what you're thinking. Let me know if you know anything that I missed. I love reading that stuff, learning, especially about these older DC characters that I'm not so familiar with, kind of thing. But that's what I got for you guys. I got more reviews coming. I'm trying to get back on track. That's what I got. Alright guys, I'll let you go. Bye.